Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter and Aron Stevens.
Hello and welcome to the A Show. Of course, we are the free-thinking, rumor-sinking, thought-provoking, tasteful joking, information-spitting, nonsense-quitting podcast. And I am the rhyme-dropping, tank-topping co-host, but not the one with the mo-host, because that would be my friend and yours, April Hunter.
Mo-host. Are you referring to my brains?
Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. And hair. You have lovely hair.
I have less than lovely hair today. I was it's been a really hell of a week this week for me and for a lot of people, I think. So I was running late, so I thank everybody for waiting for me. So I had a choice of doing my face or my hair. So I opted for my face. So I did like a thing here and nothing here. So I'll probably
it looks luxurious. I have the worst haircut ever. I wanted to keep it long, and the lady just decides to like buzz it. Like she took the buzzer and went zzz. I was like, hey, wait a minute. I had long hair and I was digging it, and now I don't. And I had to go to another barber and get it cut even shorter because this top, she kept the top long and it looked like I looked like a mushroom. Like my hair went down. It was terrible. It was an awful experience. I'm taking
you look like a penis?
What's that?
You look like a penis?
Yeah.
No, you don't. You look fine. And your face, you have facial hair again.
I do, thank God, right?
Yes.
Thank God.
It seems like your hair must grow very quickly. It seems like it does.
I think it does, yeah. And I've been taking biotin and keratin because it's been it was just not a good week for my hair. So you're winning the hair war. And I have not given up on life. I just decided to wear my Cobra Kai tank top today. I know I usually kind of dress up a little bit more, but whatever.
I think you should wear whatever you want that shows your personality. I am wearing my
really?
Shield Maiden tank top.
Okay, you know what? Hang on one second. I want you to just carry this for a second. I'm gonna hang on. I'll be right back. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay.
Just talk to the people. Talk to the people.
I will talk to the people. Okay. So Aron and I don't currently have as much access to our Patreon page as we would like to. We can see all the comments in the free area, but our producers are working on getting us access to the entire thing. So our producer is going to relay all the comments to us, and we will address them here when we get a chance. So that will be at some point in the show. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for doing the homework assignments. We really appreciate it. It's awesome for us to have the interaction there. And today we have like a bunch of weird topics to talk about, as usual. So somebody asked us to talk about burnout. So we might hit on that. We might hit on something called UBI. We were going to talk about something we learned way too late in life and wish we had known when we were earlier. We were thinking about talking about, there's a bunch of stuff. So I wanted to give you a sneak preview and tell you to hang in there for the approximate hour. And I wanted to say thank you for supporting us on Patreon. You support us, we appreciate it, and it gives us the opportunity to keep going and keep doing this. And it's fun for us to be able to use our brains and voices instead of our cleavage and pecs. And speaking of, that's perfect.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that is perfect. Yes,
you know what?
I love it.
You gave me a license to dress how I feel. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do have this lying around the house.
I love it. I think we should, honestly, I'm trying to zip up my jacket because I'm in Florida right now and we have this weather where it's like, it could be 90 during the day and 50 at night. I think we should do a cosplay medieval episode or 12 where like we do a gothic episode or something. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Frequently.
I don't want to get off subject. I don't want to get off topic. We'll hit your points. You're leading the ship or you're steering the ship. You have to, at some point, if not this episode, the next one, explain cosplay to me. Because I am not a cosplayer. I've been
I'll
to
explain it right
one.
now.
Okay, fine. You know what? I'm dressed for it.
Go ahead. Finish your. You inadvertently are a cosplayer without realizing you are. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, with pro wrestling and everything, you know what? Different costumes and things like that. Yes, I agree. But I mean, I was at the San Diego Comic-Con several years ago when I was the intellectual savior, and they just pretty much gave me a microphone and a camera operator and turned me loose, and I went and made fun of everyone. But it was very interesting because, again, like you see all different kinds of people, from bodybuilders and very very high level like yourself, you've competed on so many different things, you've done so many awesome things, but they go to this convention and they just dress up, and it just seems like so much fun. Everyone's having a good time, everyone's smiling. You don't see anyone walking around with a sourpuss, so to speak.
No.
They don't have that like face where it's like, I'm here. Really interesting. And I was just wondering, like, from your perspective, Abe, like, what's the appeal? What is the lore or allure of cosplay?
It's like multi-level. So part of that, what you just said, it's a community. So when you go, you probably felt a vibe there that's unlike a lot of places you've been to. Like it's very welcoming. It's very nerd positive. It's very all inclusive.
Yes.
It's very non-judgmental. Are you wearing guy liner?
No, there's no. I mean, I wasn't gone long enough to wear guy liner, but maybe this is just. Although, yeah, the skin's right.
Sunglasses. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sunglasses, probably. Okay, just checking. I want to know if you were doing the whole thing. No, it's very inclusive. It's very laid back. It's very chill. It's a place where you can talk fluently in movie and TV quotes, and people get you. Like for me, I've always been like that, but I've conformed to in a way to a model look, but my nerd game is real high, like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably an 8.5 to a 9. I could not date anybody that's less than a 7 or at least a hard 6. I just couldn't, they wouldn't get me. So there's that. The other thing is that most of the people there are kind of in touch with their inner kid. So there are a group of us who don't think we're too cool for school, and we are okay to be middle-aged and still dressing up or whatever. I mean, the younger kids now, it's a little different. They kind of aspire to be cosplayers, where the older generation, we're just like, let's dress up and do something and it's fun. We can get in touch with our inner Poison Ivy or Batman or Tekken player, and it's fun for us to go and find our community, find our people. Same with the Ren Fairs. You can get in touch with your inner.
Have we talked about Ren Fairs?
I know you get that. I know you understand that, and that's I think that's a little bit more of a drinking community, but it's also the same thing, same vibe.
It's a more something else community.
Yeah.
Because we've discussed this off the air.
Yes. To a degree, for some people. But not always. We'll discuss that in a minute. So
Ren Fair is a different.
For some. And I did ask about your question to somebody who goes all the time, and he did confirm that for some people, for the Rennies that go all the time, it can be, we'll just say, a more sexually open and open-minded community.
It's a giant orgy after they kick everybody out at 5 or 6
o'clock. Not always.
It's just they break down. They have their campers.
Not always. But it is a drinking type of partying community with an open mind. I will say that. So, I personally have never been involved in a giant orgy related to a Ren Fair, unfortunately. But sad to say. But
so the Ren Fair.
I have stepped in horse shit.
Well, we all have.
And drag my dress through it.
So is it safe to say the Ren Fair would be a hybrid between a Comic-Con and some kind of a sex convention?
I don't have enough experience in that to say. Somebody might know better than I. You mean like a combination of Fetish Con and
something like that. Like I didn't know what they call it, so I just called it the sex convention. Sorry.
Yeah. Perhaps, I don't know. For some, maybe. You know,
Okay.
I honestly think that the third dynamic of these things is that some people are, what's the word I'm looking for? Some people go to these conventions and they get to be who they really are.
Yeah.
A couple of hours or for the day or for the weekend.
Because I
So
was at the Ren Fair.
they get to be their inner, they get to be the Viking, they get to be the Victorian barmaid, they get to be the pirate for the weekend.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, Colin, if I text you a video, is there any way you could get it up within a couple minutes? Because I have a video from me at the Ren Fair. Is that possible, Colin? And how are you? Let's say hi to Colin, everybody.
Hi, Colin.
Hi, everybody. Yes, Aaron, I will try my best
All right.
to get that video. If I have to email it to me, we'll share it on screen. We'll do whatever we got to do to get it up.
So I'm going to send this video to Colin. This was at the Ren Fair out here. The first Ren Fair I was at was at the Tampa Bay Renaissance Fair.
Oh, sorry.
Right, or the Bay Area Renaissance.
The Bay Area Ren Fair. That was the first one I ever went to too.
I went with both of the Rotundo brothers, and we had a wonderful time. We drank mead.
Yes.
We bought weapons. There was
you have to drink mead.
For $5. There was this giant chest, and I believe like Wyndham got an axe, Bo got a mace, which is a stick with a giant ball with spikes on the end of it, and I got this machete. It was a one-piece machete with a wrapped handle. It was amazing. We kept it in the house. You've been to our house in Tabby. We kept it in the house by the door for years.
Did you throw axes and shoot bow and arrow and all that? Because last time I went, I got drunk, and actually, normally I can't. I'm not much of an axe thrower. I'm a pretty good archer, but
How do you say that?
I got very good at throwing axes with each glass of mead that I had, or sorry, with each mug of mead I drank.
Well, or horn. Well, it's funny that you say that, because the video I just sent Colin was years later when they had the Renaissance Pleasure Fair out here, which, if we want to get into the thing, this is out in California now. So I went with a few of my friends, and again, it was just people were holding plates of meat, and they all have the girdles and everything, and it was far more sexual than the Tampa one, the one out here, oddly enough.
No, we need to step up.
I was challenged by this dude who looked like some kind of a merchant from the 1500s or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And they had, ironically enough, a ninja throwing star competition. So unbeknownst to him, and this, I don't know, this, not a lot of information, not a lot of people know this, but I studied martial arts for several years. And in fact, there was a crossover up until my days at Killer Kowalski's. I did it for about, I think, a year or 2 years. I did both. But it wasn't like cool MMA and stuff like that. Now it was like traditional Chinese Kung Fu, part of which entailed.
You and I both did.
Yeah. What did you do?
Hard to transition Taekwondo.
Oh,
judo.
Yeah.
Really hard to transition into pro wrestling after martial arts.
Judo's awesome. So yeah. So part of my skill, I am fairly proficient at throwing ninja star. In Japanese, they're called shurikens. But in Chinese, I forget the name. But I became pretty good at this. Now, years have gone by. I, started the pro wrestling thing and blah, 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 blah. But when this guy challenged me, I just was like, you know what? No, I don't like carnies. That's why I'm not involved in the wrestling business full time. And this guy was a carny. He was a medieval carny. And I said, you know what? Now you pay. So I did have some meat in me. And I think the first throw, I got it on the board. And like if you don't know how to throw these, like, it's a hard time getting them to stick. Right. But I got it on the board, but it wasn't on the bullseye. But then, like, it was weird because it had been over 10 years since I've done this, or actually probably closer to 15. And so I'm like, I did the first one, then everything just clicked, and I went, okay. And then I went for boom, for boom, for boom, for boom, and then he throws his hands up. He's like, oh, and then I just pointed at him and walked away. And I was not invited to the festivities after. Let's just say that.
That's funny.
So that was my experience at the Ren Fair. Now, if I was to go to a Comic-Con, what should I dress up as? Could I dress up as my old self with the robe and the towel, which is actually kind of funny because I realize that's what I have on now. It's more of a robe and an ascot, but like I couldn't dress up as me as like intellectual savior because that would be kind of stupid.
I did actually see someone dressed up as you once. They were cosplaying you. I think I sent you the picture. Remember?
I'm sorry, I don't. I'm terrible.
Oh,
I'm a horrible human being.
It was a while ago. I was like, this guy's
Yeah.
cosplaying Damien Sandow. This is hilarious.
Yeah, it was cool. I was always super flattered. And it was weird. Like you go overseas, more people would do it. It was kind of fun.
Yeah. I was always waiting for someone to comic or cosplay my my comic book character from Sirens.
Yes.
Agony. I haven't seen anyone do it yet, but I feel like it's just a matter of time since it's a George Perez comic book thing. I'd like to see like a group of girls do it and
hell yeah
with it.
Hell yeah.
So
I don't mean to interrupt, but I could pull the video up and share it with everyone now if you would like.
Yeah.
April, if that's okay with you, proof that I'm not a liar and that this medieval carny got what he had coming to him. He paid the price.
You guys
paid the price.
You guys are about to witness the greatness of Aron Stevens over here.
Yes. Oh, there we go. Yeah!
See? That was it.
Aron's never a liar. That's one thing. That's one thing that I can vouch for his character. He just doesn't lie.
That fool won't do that again, though. Won't challenge me again.
So, what should you dress as? Well, I think it's just fun. I think it's such an American thing. Well, maybe not just American, maybe German as well. That they like to get us drunk and give us really sharp, shiny weapons to throw, and I love that. That is one of the best things about being American.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, well, we should probably ask our patrons, what should you cosplay?
Yeah. You know, because who knows if we can get something. I mean, if there's any comic nerds out there or anyone like that, like I'm going to put this out there, right? Because you're telling me to be more open and just be more expressive. So I'm you know, and y'all patrons, y'all are witnessing me transform, right? Like part of me, April has helped me get out of my shell and be a little bit more of the genuine or my genuine self in public. Because as you know, in wrestling, I'm very character fluid or personality fluid. And these are masks that I hide behind, and I enjoy.
Sometimes gender fluid. We've seen your matches in the pink.
Hey, pink cartwheel, Liberace. I've even had the flesh colored trunks once, and that was a whole thing. But you know, I am going to be open, and if anyone out there is involved in any kind of Comic Con and things, and as things are now slowly starting to open up and get back to normal, we would love to do a podcast, and we've talked about this, April. That's why I feel I can speak for both of us. We feel we would do a great podcast from a Comic Con.
Yeah,
you know, San Diego, wherever. We could do an episode of the A Show from Comic Con, and really, I mean, interview people. It would be a hell of a thing. And I would actually dress up, but I have to have a cool costume. I can't be dressed as like Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show or anything like that. But give me a cool.
You're Romanian, right? You would be a good vampire.
Yeah. Oh God.
Vlad the Impaler.
Absolutely. I would put the fangs on. I mean, Guy Liner would be absolutely. So tell you what, let's get the word out there. We'd love to do the A Show from a Comic Con if the situation presents itself. And, you know, you never know what'll happen. So, and I will dress as all of you Patreons if you kind of give us suggestions, and I would adhere to your suggestions, and April will ensure that.
Now, Aron, have you ever seen What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh God.
No. What y'all do in your
the movie or the show?
Well, either one, but I think Aron, the Romanian, the vampire thing, you should watch What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
And go after and maybe cosplay as one of those characters from that movie. I think you would hit it dead on.
It's a spoof vampire, like I want to say a mockumentary in a way. It's like Spinal Tap for vampires. And
or Trailer Park Boys meets True Blood.
Yes. So they did a film And then they went ahead and did a TV show. And I believe the TV show's on Netflix, right? Is that on Netflix?
It's on Netflix or Hulu. I think you can find it on any of the streaming services. Yeah.
Your sense of humor, you would like it because it's dry. It's our sense of humor for sure.
Awesome.
So, yeah, you should definitely look that up.
Very cool. Very cool.
So, how do we get on this topic?
Mike, right? We had some like pretty intense stuff lined up, and now we're talking about vampire. Well, when the Ren Fair came up, pretty much everything went south because we had to let people know what the hell's going on with the Ren Fair.
Yeah, I cannot wait for them to start running again. That honestly, of all the things that I have missed with the cancellations, it's got to be the Ren Fairs and the Comic Cons, especially the Comic Cons, because I have like a core group of people that I work with a lot, like my comic book writers and my artists and my cosplay friends that I kind of only get to see because we all travel in the same circles. I get to see them there. Yeah. Some of the other models, and I miss them. I miss that. Like someone said with everything that's gone on, there was an entire section of friendship eliminated with this. It was called the water cooler friends. And I wouldn't exactly consider them the water cooler friends, but in a way, like the people you see through work matter, and you don't realize how much they matter to you, until you don't have that anymore. That's them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, see them on Facebook, and thank God, everybody likes to talk about the bullshit of social media, and they love to trash it. But honestly, there's so much good about social media. Like Facebook, I mean, you get to see your friends there. Last week, I was able to have an interesting religious history discussion with 4 people. Obviously, I'm from America. There's somebody from Germany, somebody from Canada, and somebody from Iraq. And we were having a discussion about the impact that religion has had on the world, the history of Catholicism, and things like that. And it was interesting to get everyone's perspective on this. And if Twitter, didn't exist, for all the bullshit that Twitter can create and has created, there's a lot of good about it too. Like you couldn't have a conversation like that in real life. It would be difficult to.
Yeah.
There's much to be grateful for, and we tend to just focus on the bad a lot.
Exactly. And I think we might have even said this before, like technology, I mean, and this goes from Twitter to electricity, right? It is what it is, and it can be used for good or bad. Like the electricity, you can cook someone's dinner with it, and you can also cook the person. But social media, you can have awesome discussions like that, and you can also use it to try to put yourself over, or just try to validate yourself by taking or spewing hot garbage out of your mouth, or I shouldn't say out of your mouth, hot garbage on your keyboard, in a mindless rant that has really no merit or weight behind it. So try to use it for the good is what I'm saying. I mean, they're good and bad and everything. And again, if used correctly, man, social media is awesome.
It is. And that actually might bring us to one of the topics that one of our patrons asked us to talk about, and that's burnout. Somebody requested we talk about burnout and how to deal with it. Personally, I suggest you go to Comic-Con when they're available. It's fun. Put yourself in some spandex and go. But burnout is a real thing, and I have found that I deal with it on a pretty frequent basis. And the more I try and push through, the more energy it takes from me to try and keep going. And it takes me a hot minute to realize that I can't do this. So how I have learned to handle it is to get outside. And if I can get away, the best way I have learned to deal with it is to go away, even if it's just like for a weekend or 2 days, and be outside as much as humanly possible and be off the screens. So even the last time I did that, I went camping, and I went somewhere where, there was kind of no electricity, no screens, no internet. It was wunderbar. I had a couple of friends there. We sat around the fire at night, drank tequila, spent way too long making a simple breakfast. It was fantastic. Walked around a lot.
Awesome.
And they say, I think it's 3 days in nature and your brain starts healing itself and becoming creative again. And even 20 minutes in nature off the screens, you can start becoming less burnout.
Wow.
Something about nature kind of heals you. There's a book called The Nature Fix, and they've done a lot of like scientific research. Like there's a reason why people pay so much to have a view, because we know that's something that's valuable and it means something to us. We have a connection with nature.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you do?
I don't. And this is again, to contrast. And as we know, I mean, look at me right now. I mean, I've gotten to this point in life where I'm a grown man dressed like this. So I say that in jest, of course, but my burnout, I don't deal with it well. And I pretty much had been full-time wrestling. I mean, I started training at 16. I turned pro at 20.
You've had a lot of crash and burns, right? Because of that.
And I went straight. I did not stop until I was 36. And this was full-time, whether it was Puerto Rico, OVW, FCW, WWE, and Impact to a degree. Impact wasn't full-time, but when I stopped and I had that schedule where like living out of a suitcase and just, even physically it wasn't that bad because I can pretty much get used to anything. I mean, when you stay at the Dahlia in Puerto Rico, man, you can survive some pretty crazy circumstances and to be able to survive that. Anyone that stays there, they know what's happening. But like the WWE schedule, look, it wasn't okay. It was brutal, but it wasn't that bad, and if they had been better, if everyone was to fly business class and they took better care of their talent, it would have made it even easier. But even so, it wasn't a horrible thing. Going past that was like the mental burnout to where, and you and I have talked about this, to where it's like when especially towards the end, when I was getting the response I was getting, and I was like at a certain level of popularity with the fans and merchandise.
You are super popular. You don't have to be so.
But no, I mean, but like there was that resistance from the office, and I never got any answers. And I never failed a drug test, never had any kind of relationship with any woman there or anything like that. Pretty much kept my nose clean. Every time I did media for the town, the attendance would go up because I would keep track of the numbers. And like, I tried my best to be a model employee, and they just, for some reason, never gave it to me. And that to me caused me more of a mental burnout. And to where I repelled pro wrestling. I just said, I'm disgusted with this. I can't do it. I just had to go away. And, and when what happened with Impact, it was great when I first got there. It like reinvigorated me. And then all of a sudden, like, some more, not involving me so much, but the administration, it was typical wrestling stuff. So I said, I'm out. I just got to do it. And then that actually, though, not dealing with the burnout was counterproductive to what I'm trying to do in LA, because I'm thinking I'll just go do something else. And no, what I should have done, I should have taken a month or two, and I should have been like, you know what? Okay, I need to go to somewhere. Like, even like a random place like Solvang, California, where they have the windmills and everything, and just say, you know what? I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm going to eat cookies. I'm going to just enjoy myself. I'm going to just give my brain a break. And I never got a chance to do that. And, it was funny because I was always out here and I'm trying to like pursue, do it, and it was very much that like hard sell and hard work. And it was, I felt, and whether you believe in energy and stuff, and I think you and I both do, obviously, but even from a physical standpoint too, it was hard. It was taxing. And when I went home, not this past Christmas, but the one before that, I was home for like 3 months, and that to me, and we were talking then too, that to me, it really kind of made me relax. I mean, I ate Chinese food.
Going home's a reset, right?
Yes. Ate Chinese food, snowmobiled, shot guns, lit things on fire. And I don't want everyone to go shooting guns and lighting things on fire. I do not recommend that as therapy. We have proper areas to do this at home. This is all done in safety. So do not, don't go doing that. What I'm trying to say is decompress however you want to in a very legal and safe way. So don't go breaking any laws and don't put anyone in danger.
Don't try this at home.
Yes. So to me, again, it was just not thinking about what the hell I'm going to do next, and not thinking about my next step of success. And even just now too, aside from there, and we're all going to have minor hiccups and stuff, but to deal with burnout, I think, right, you need to just pause. And that's pretty much what you said. Get into nature and do that. And I am kicking myself in the bum for not doing that much sooner.
Yeah, that's something we learned a little too late. I remember somebody giving me, some amazing advice that I kind of pass on every chance I get. And I was going through major depression. My mom and grandmother had just died. And I probably mentioned this on another episode because I do try to pass it on all the time. And sometimes these episodes are kind of blending together. But in case somebody hasn't seen that one, or maybe if I didn't mention it, because, I've had a few concussions and I can't remember all this. Somebody told me to go back and do the things that you love when you were a kid. I'm pretty sure I did mention that, but it really is good advice. So if, you love to paint or build things or woodworking or go bike riding or whatever it is that you loved doing as a kid, maybe do that again, because that kind of helps regenerate. Like anytime you get lost in play, it helps to recharge your batteries, whether it's video games or building something or being outside. That helps with burnout, I think. And the other thing you have to be conscious of, and this one came from my therapist, who is all knowing and brilliant. She said you can't take the time off but still be thinking about what you should be doing or what you're supposed to be doing, or you know what I mean? Like you have to literally put it out of your mind and give yourself the break and stop thinking about what you could or should be doing.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Wow.
But that actually brings us to something you learned too late in life. Do you have any other things that you might have learned too late in life that you can think of that you wish you knew when you were younger?
Well, again, taking time to pause and dealing and realizing it's okay to be burned out. That's a major one for me. If I had to think of anything, you know what? Always think of others before you think of yourself. And that means it's the small things, right? It's when you're having a conversation with someone, right? And be it a significant other, spouse, whatever, a children, a parent, or a stranger. When you're having whether it's a debate or just like a heated discussion, whatever you call it, try to see things from their perspective and try not to go out of your way to kind of prove a point when you can simply be a good listener, and that will make them more receptive to you. And it was funny, right? When I write the show Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and I had two super talented gentlemen. And I just was like, you know what? All right, here's what I want you guys to do. This match, I want you, the only thing you think about is how to get him over. And the only thing he's going to think about is how to get you over. And by the way, for non-wrestling people, and I hope that more and more of you are joining us, get over means make look good. So like one person, so for the whole match, how do I make my opponent look good? And then the opponent does the same thing to the other guy. So they came back and they're like, that was the best match we ever had. That was so easy. And this and that. I'm like, yes, that's how it should be. And I think that absolutely translates into other aspects of your life. And in doing that, that's helped me a lot more. Not to get off
Everything in
subject.
wrestling translates to life.
Yeah, right. Not to get off subject, but do I look like I'm wearing makeup right now?
You do.
Is my ring light that I am not wearing makeup? I promise.
No, you look fabulous.
My ring light is just like, I mean,
I'm jealous. Like I want
I may
your
be a
ring
little
light.
too fabulous. I don't know. I'm
No,
looking
no,
at
no,
myself
no. You
going,
look
"What?"
great. Yeah,
Okay,
you look great. You should feel like you should feel a little good
Right.
about yourself right now. Your skin looks fabulous.
The randomness of
But-
the A show. Sorry.
You said something about being 36 when you get off the road. I was like, how's that possible when you're only 34 right now?
Thank you.
That's something I learned too late. Dry shampoo. Dry shampoo is the shit.
Okay.
It
All right.
is the shit. I mean, fuck
Okay.
sliced bread. Dry shampoo is where it's at.
Right on.
It
Now-
saves you so much time.
So, what dry shampoo does it clean your hair? Does it just
It cleans it. It absorbs the oil. It fluffs it right back out again. Another
Okay.
thing that I stuck to since I was a kid, and I'm glad I did, taking a shower at night. Everybody in the world wants to take a shower in the morning. There's this grand rush to shower in the morning. You get this much hot water. Everybody's there. Shower at night. You get to wash the whole day off. Your bed sheets stay fresher longer. There's no rush in the morning, and you can sleep later. He wakes you up. You don't need a shower.
That's excellent. I do the same thing. Excellent advice.
Do you really?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There's so few of us that do.
No, and I think too, like, and we should do a show on sleep because sleep is so important.
God, yeah.
And there is something kind of like you're washing off all of the remnants
day.
of the day, shall we speak?
Mhm.
Or shall
Yep.
we say? And yeah, it's a good thing.
I agree. It's something about a warm shower before bed that also helps you like kind of calm down and so this was I got this in the mail, switching gears for a minute, and it is a constituent opinion ballot about something. When I originally saw it, it seemed weird, like it would never pass, and then I read about it. And it's called UBI, which is called Universal Basic Income. So it's a socialized concept, which you and I are moderates. We entertain everything from all sides. So
Absolutely.
I thought, because this is not very common to hear about, I thought it would be interesting to address it on the show. So I'll just read you what it says. In light of the pandemic, many are once again renewing their call for the Universal Basic Income, or UBI, for all Americans. UBI is a government program in which every adult citizen receives a set amount of money on a regular basis. The goals of UBI are to alleviate poverty and replace other need-based social programs that potentially require greater bureaucratic involvement. Now, there's a for and against argument with this. For is, those in favor argue that so many people are worried about being able to catch up on bills once they are back to work, and if there was ever a time to implement universal basic income, it is now. Supporters feel the best way to get the economy back on track is to put money directly in the pockets of workers instead of continuing to bail out big businesses. Allow the people to bail out the businesses by frequenting them. Democratic Representative Ro Khanna in California said, in order to alleviate the economic fallout of the coronavirus, we must ensure hardworking Americans have money in their pockets and are able to pay their bills. We must soften the blow for workers as large gatherings and events are canceled and hours are cut. So, which we have personally felt quite a bit. Now here's the against argument. Those against say that if UBI were ever to be implemented and then canceled, those now inflated prices would not go back down and people would be in a far worse place than they find themselves now, such as bag fees, that bullshit. Many also fear that by handing out $1,000 a month, it would incentivize people who are unemployed to continue being unemployed, thus hurting the economy in the long run. They also argue that a UBI would be prohibitively expensive unless accompanied by deep cuts to the rest of the safety net. They point out that in the US, population 327 million, a UBI of just $1,000 a month would cost around $4 trillion per year, which is close to the entire federal budget in 2018. Are you in favor of passing legislation which would implement universal basic income of $1,000 a month? So, I think both arguments have validity. I think there are so many ways to look at that. There are most other westernized countries are more of a socialized democracy than a straight up democracy. They have much more of a safety net for their people than we do. When something like the virus happened, and I believe don't quote me on this, but I think I'm correct in saying that there were payouts in Canada at $2,000 a month.
Yes, I was talking to Boris about that, and yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my former family lives there, and the people were taken care of. Like when a government tells you you can't work and they shut down things, they made sure to pay them out. Whereas here, we're looking at random small checks every once in a while. They're debating whether or not to pass it. We're looking at these PPP loans that may or may not be forgiven. It's financially fucked up, and a lot of these businesses have gone. Like I heard something like 50% of the restaurants are closed down and gone. They're just never coming back. People like you and I, who are in the entertainment business, anybody in the entertainment and service industry, it was just all our work was. And my work continues to be shut down. This is over a year now. I have not gotten any bookings back, and you're having a difficult time too. We all are. There are no appearances. There are no. For me, I have a candle and soap company. Etsy's on Etsy. April Sensations. Cheap plug.
They're lovely.
There are no. Well, smell good. It's beautiful. There are no markets. I used to do markets on the weekends and stuff. So there's none of them. There are no, like we said, no Comic Cons. No, I'm not traveling to go do shoots. You're not there's not having a bunch of auditions out in LA. We're not working like that. So the first argument when they said to offset that kind of thing, it's not incorrect. The second argument where, back in the day, they charged all this extra money for bag fees to offset the rising price of gas prices with a temporary charge from the airlines. They never took that away. So now everybody has to pay a minimum of $50 or $60 extra on every flight to take their shit with them. So that situation could happen with this too. But I don't think $500.
I thought bag fees are like 25. Sorry. Oh, but you're talking both ways, to and back. Oh yeah.
So 25 or 30, right? Depending
Something
on the
like
airline.
that, yeah.
And that's assuming you have one bag. So if you have a family of 4,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
That adds up pretty quickly, or a family of 5, whatever. It still adds up. So unless you have a bunch of people living in the same house, and you're getting 500 or 1,000 per person, and you're all collectively pulling your money, which could happen. But I don't think I don't know if like people who are in Congress really understand the actual cost of living and how much people really make. So I don't think they understand that like $1,000 a month is not going to cover fuck all. Like that's people's grocery bill for the month, really. I mean, what's the average person? What do they spend a week for groceries? The average family? I'm going to say $200 at least, $200 to $300.
I would think,
kids.
I would think
easily.
Yeah.
So that's like grocery money, maybe grocery and gas money if you're really slick about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this can keep people from trying to find work or off. Yeah. I don't think it'll discourage them from working. Most of them.
Yeah, and again, I am not an economist or anything close to it, and I'm also dressed like an idiot. So take my opinion for what it is.
Fabulously.
Thank you. But I would equate it to our economy right now. It like an engine, like any other ecosystem, shall we say, to where we have a certain way to do things, right? We want to get our economy up and running again, running like a car engine. Sometimes when it's cold out or you have some kind of a disruption, you have to take the ether and give it a couple shots, right, to get the engine started, right? We've all heard of this. So
Embargo.
yeah, what's that?
Embargo.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Get your
so
key in the lock.
Yeah, I think right now, you know,
Card.
yeah, like to start, is it like a one time or a 2-time thing where, okay, we need some kind of, like with these loans, yes, they need to be forgiven. And like with the understanding of, okay, you put a little more money into people's pockets, get the economy stimulated again. And at the same time, I am for, in terms of big business, and we had this discussion a few weeks ago where I am very much a capitalist. There has been no other economic system that has elevated more people out of poverty than, you know, capitalism, the free trade market. That is a fact. However,
I would argue that.
Mhm.
I would say a capitalist with a combination of socialism has, like they have, say, in Canada, in Japan, where the government regulates but doesn't run things. Like the government regulates the healthcare, it doesn't run the healthcare. It just keeps the prices at a certain point.
Yeah, and I wasn't talking about just the United States. I was talking about, again, the capitalist system, and with the regulations placed on the big corporations. Again, don't want to get into big pharma because we would like to have a show, and we like our social media accounts. But
I'm sorry, that was, I have Tourette's of the fingers.
Yeah, you just said you would crack your knuckles. That's all.
Something happens there.
So, but with everything going on, regulations, in my opinion, need to be placed at some level to prevent, you know, greed, because greed is the enemy, right? Like they say, what is a corporation? Is it a building? Is it a whatever? No, it's a made up thing on paper. It's an idea that's pretty much on paper that, you know, you can't point at a corporation, so to speak, right? Like the concept of a corporation. So a corporation is literally fueled by greed. You know, its purpose is to make money. Making money is excellent. We all love making money. However, when you do that to the disparity of the average American or the average member of society, we'll make this an even bigger thing. That is when greed becomes, you know, the predominant driving force behind the society itself. So I believe that if at some level we could have regulations, and look, $100 million, yes, the CEOs, they need to make bank because they are steering the ship, right? But at what point, I mean, look, 100 million, 100 million or 120 million, like, does it really matter? And can you take 20 million out of your salary and kind of put it back into people? Yes, because at some point it's really not going to matter. You know, you get your jollies to look at your income statement and say, oh, ha, ha, ha. Meanwhile, when other people are struggling. So I don't think that, you know, socialism is not the way to go. However, regulations and like Canada, you know, you have some, and we say socialist, but like just taking a little bit better care of the people, you know, put that in place, because in a free trade market, I mean, look, we have a couple $100 here, was like 12 or 1400, but whatever the hell the other stimulus check was, that's not going to do anything for
that doesn't even cover a mortgage.
No, like, and for a year of people being out of work. Now, if you said something like, look, this is what we're going to do for student loans, for small businesses, banks are going to, you know, relax the rent or something, right? Are going to relax their statements, their agreements, their mortgage rate, whatever, right? Again, not an economist, but at that level, if the bigger corporations stepped up individually, that would, I think, make far more of an impact than, oh, hey, here you go, you know, go like DoorDash on us, really.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if we're going to solve this today, but I'll tell you something that irritates me. We spent, you know, they talk about how much it would cost to send money out to people who are hurting and how much it would hurt us financially, collectively as a country.
Mhm.
And they say this as people who don't live our lives, don't use our schools, don't deal with our healthcare, don't know the reality of what we actually face. They're not losing their jobs. They're not having their hours cut. And we sit here as taxpayers and watch as they have spent so much money, just pissed it away. First Trump did with his stupid lawsuits in every fucking state, trying to argue the vote, whether or not it was correct. And then Congress with their stupid fucking impeachment situation, trying to impeach him again. This was stupid. This is a waste of money. It's a phallus
measuring contest.
Right. Now they're going to tell us that they can't afford to bail us out, or the people. They can't afford to take care of the Americans, but they can afford to piss away ridiculous amounts of money on lawsuits, both sides, both sides. Unlimited amounts of money to impeach somebody who's already out.
Yep.
That. And the president's already spending money to argue the vote when somebody got the popular and the electoral college. Like, that's always been good enough before. Now it's not good enough. Like, how stupid are these people? Seriously, and how stupid are we to not call them on it?
Yeah, and a lot of it, again, they feed off of people's emotions, right? Because again,
they are
right or left side. The media did such a wonderful job of just kind of like creating this divide.
Yeah.
And presenting things in such a way that, and again, you know, shame on a lot of these media people, because I get it, report the truth and like report what's going on. But at the same time, your coverage, if your reporters are going to give their opinions, at least it should be calming and trying to focus on unity.
No.
And
I
but
hope,
of course, that didn't happen.
I hope that everybody out there who misrepresents everything, who contributes to the divide, who uses headlines to grab attention, I hope all of your assholes fall off. I really do. Because you are part of the fucking problem in this country. And the media is a huge issue. Huge, or as you would say, huge issue in this problem. We all feel what they are doing to us, and it's not right. Basic information about what's going on in our government, in our world, in our country is a basic right. We shouldn't have to pay to have access to that. We shouldn't have to be manipulated. We shouldn't be manipulated. We shouldn't have attention-grabbing headlines and use moral issues and to divide and conquer and be led this way and led that way because you have advertisers to pay. That's where capitalism goes way wrong. You know, as soon as we got 24 hours of news that they had to fill, all of a sudden world news didn't matter anymore, and they were just trying to grab our attention with headlines to try and keep people on their sites and their channels just to pay the advertisers. We don't get news anymore. We just get opinions thinly veiled as news, and people are just being led astray that this is actual news, and it is not. It's not. And you know, these are the people who are telling us that they can't afford to help after they're telling us that we can't work. And then they're spending all our tax money on stupid shit. Okay, so I don't have an answer for this, and probably I don't know if anybody does, but I see right and wrong, and that's wrong. And Colin, do you have an opinion on this?
I do have an opinion on this, but I actually have a question to pose to the two of you. We kind of already have universal basic income with Social Security. Now, if they introduce universal basic income, does Social Security go away, or do they expand Social Security to include all of the Americans? And technically, we still pay into the Social Security. So are we still going to be paying into universal basic income after this? Or, you know, what is going to happen with some of these things that, like with Social Security? I mean, for the past couple of years, they've said it's not going to last. It's not going to survive. We can't with the baby boomer generation and everything. But now all of a sudden they're talking about $1,000 with universal basic income. And we still have these issues with Social Security. So I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on that.
Well, I don't honestly, I'm not educated or qualified enough to actually answer that. Maybe one of our patrons might know because maybe they're an economist. I personally don't think Security is going anywhere. I think that is one of those fear mongering bullshit things because they've been saying it for so long. And quite honestly, the amount 500,000 people just died. Where's their Social Security that they paid into? Where is that going? Where's that going now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And look, I think to me, you're also going to have to deal with inflation to where if universal income comes in and everyone's getting an extra 1,000, you don't think that the price of things are going to go up naturally just because of the way the economy flows. We're going to have that to deal with. We're going to have the question of, again, taxes. Where is the money going to come from? Does the government just order more money printed? And, where's that going to leave the American dollar?
Yeah.
These are all things we have to look into. So again, I am for the ether approach to like, okay, we've just been through a really, really rough time. Let's kickstart the engine a little bit. Let's some ether, but then once the engine's up and running and warmed up, we don't need to keep feeding ether. We can run off of whatever, I'd say gasoline, but I'm very much a clean fuel guy. So I think hopefully that more clean fuel, let's say. So I'm not going to get too off topic, but that's my answer to that, Colin. And then again, I'm just a guy in a robe and a red ascot.
But give it a 3 or 6 month limit and call it a day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Possibility. Plus, I guess we could talk about this and not figure it out forever, but those are just things to think about. And maybe, like I said, maybe one of our patrons knows a lot more about this than we do. Probably there are definitely people out there that know a lot more about this than we do. But speaking of our patrons, Colin, our wonderful producer, has access to some of the questions and comments that we've had this week. And I was wondering what some of those are so we could address them.
So on the if you go to patreon.com/the A Show, you can find all of our great content that we have up there so far. And on episode 5, which is the one that we posted, which was our Jocephus episode, when we talked about coping with grief and everything. We had WWE Front Row. Thank you for this episode. I didn't know Jocephus, but I met ? At the NWA tapings. He was so full of life and had fun with all of us there at the shows in the lobby. Aron, I'm sorry for your loss. And April, thank you for sharing your story as well. And then from Chris Porter.
Thank you.
We have,
hey, War Demon.
Thank you for being a part of my life, April. I love you. You've been in my life for years now, and I never met you in real life. I feel like you know more than anyone I have met in real life. Thank you for all the advice you've given me, whether it be sweet or harsh, like simply saying to me, get your shit together. So, April, here I am doing one half of the assignment and telling you how much you mean to me and that I love you, and I'm so happy you're in my life.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Thank you, Chris. That's my War Demon buddy. Thank you. I know you're on both my Patreon pages, so thank you for saying hello.
And
that's great.
See. We've got on episode 3, we've got a couple of new comments. This one is from Ava. Awesome, you too. And she also says, I am not on Twitter, but I will say, note to my younger self, trust the warning signs, don't marry him. So it's like she saw into the future that we were going to talk about things that you should have learned earlier on in life that you learned later in life. Yeah.
I think Ava and I have had this discussion quite a few times, but that is really good advice when you feel that gut feeling about somebody. I think we can all agree on this. And you try and overthink it, you're going to pay for it later.
Yeah, true.
And Eva and I have both paid for it in spades with the two of our really rather interesting relationships that we have had to dig ourselves out of financially and emotionally and still continue to handle at times. So
So
thanks, Eva.
I have one more for you guys, and this one is on the first Just the Tip that we dropped with exercise and beauty tips from you, April. Fred Tempe, oh Lord, April, y'all, you're killing me, Smalls. Really good tip to stay healthy. I just have a dirty mind. Love you, lady. So I think they're referring to the name
Yeah.
of the Just the Tip there.
There you go.
I didn't come up with that. My brilliant brilliant people came up with that. That's why we liked it. I have a dirty mind as well. So bueno. Glad you like it. Well, thank you very much for your comments. We do love them. It's nice to have quite a few more this week. We are thrilled about that. Thank you to all our patrons who are listening to us on patreon.com The A Show. You can also find us on Twitter _ The A Show. And we need your support. We like your support. We want your support because we want to keep going. And it helps us. It helps us, we take the time out to try and do this, and it takes time from other things. So it really is gratifying for us that we do have your support. And we're very, very grateful. So, Aron, I defer to you.
We want you to want us. No, but again, thank you very much for your support. This is cool. I'm new to the whole world of Patreon and blah, 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 blah. I just got a laptop like 6 weeks ago. So this has been really cool. I'm finding out all about this. But again, with the show, really, it means a lot. Your comments, your support. And please tell someone. I say it every week. If you like it, tell a friend. If you don't, tell an enemy. Share, follow us, subscribe, and just we will keep coming at you. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. Hopefully. That depends on you. So if you like it, you know what to do.
Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next week.